Hi guys, today I want to start my preparation for Halloween and I'd like to make this little pumpkin. I'm gonna be making exactly this pumpkin. Also, I'm gonna show you how to decorate it with cinnamon stick. So in that case, your pumpkin gonna have a nice flavor. I already have 2 pumpkins made. They made from completely same yarn. I use the same pattern as well. However, in this pumpkin, I use smaller hook, and you can see that the pattern is tighter. It's really tight, and you can't even see the feeling that I have inside. And for this pumpkin, I used slightly bigger hook, and you can even see that there is a feeling inside. I will crochet with cotton yarn from Alize Bella in orange color, cotton yarn from Alize Lily in brown color. I'm gonna use 125mm hook. I'm gonna use cinnamon stick for decoration, and I'm gonna use some instrument. Also, I'll need some stuffing. Slip knot, chain of 20. First row, we're gonna start with chain of 1. Slip stitch in a second stitch from the hook. Single crochet in the next stitch. Half double crochet in the next stitch. Fourteen double crochet in the next 14 stitches. Fourteen double crochet are done. Now I'm gonna make 1/2 double crochet in the next stitch. One single crochet in the next stitch. And slip stitch in the last stitch in a row. First row is done. Now I'm gonna turn my work on the other side. Second row, chain of 1, Second row and all other rows I'm gonna crochet by half of the stitch. After chain of 1, I'm gonna make slip stitch in the first stitch that I have in my row. Single crochet in the next half of the stitch. Half double crochet in the next half of the stitch. Fourteen double crochet in the next 14 half of the stitches. Half double crochet in the next half of the stitch. Single crochet. And slip stitch. My second row is done. Now I'm gonna turn my work on the other side and I'm continuing repeating my row number 2 18 more times. So at the end I'm gonna have 20 rows made overall. I'm gonna continue crocheting and I'm gonna meet you when I have 20 rows overall done. I finished my 20 rows. That's what I have now on one side and on the other side. So now I'm gonna leave some end of the yarn and I'm gonna cut this yarn. Now we're gonna attach these parts together just by sewing them together like that. That's how it looks now. We're gonna tie these ends. And we're gonna hide the short ends inside. In every part, this part of our knitting, we're gonna make a seam here, just to make little ribs, so it's gonna look like real pumpkin. For that, we're gonna use this end of the yarn that we have. I'm just gonna split this yarn. And I'll go here. And what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go inside, right inside this part. And I'm gonna make a seam. So I'll be going just through this part of the row, just through this knitting inside with my needle and my yarn. And I'm gonna tighten just a little bit. I'm gonna tighten it. Not too much, but just a little. And once it's done, I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna tie it here, just so it's gonna stay the same way. Now we have nice little rib here, and we're just gonna continue making them. So I'm gonna go to the next one here. I'm gonna do the same, and I'm gonna do for every thing that I have here, for every this part, I'm gonna do the same. All the parts are done now, and now we can just close our circle. And I'm just gonna grab this loop right here. I'm gonna find it in every section here. Just very first loop, like that. And I'm gonna go one more time through all of those loops. Now I'm just gonna take some filling and fill my pumpkin. That's what we have now. All the ribs are clearly seen. They're really nice and looks like real pumpkin. With brown yarn, I'm gonna make a stem for a pumpkin. I'm gonna start with magic ring and chain of 1. 6 single crochet in a magic circle. Tie in magic circle and closing our ring. In a second row, I'm gonna make 12 single crochet. So I'm gonna be making increases in every stitch that I have around. I'm gonna make 2 single crochet. I'm I'm gonna end this round with a slip stitch. Third round, chain of one single crochet in the next stitch, chain of one, slip stitch in this part of our stitch right here. So this is a part of our stitch that we just made, going inside and making a slip stitch. Now we're gonna make another slip stitch in the next stitch over here. Chain of one again, single crochet in the next stitch, chain of one again, another slip stitch in our single crochet, and slip stitch in the next stitch. It's going to be like our joining stitch. And again, chain of one, single crochet in the next stitch, chain of one, slip stitch, and another slip stitch in the next stitch right here. And we'll continue this pattern all around. It's our last segment, so right now we're just gonna make slip stitch in the next stitch, but it's gonna be our first stitch that we made in this row. So overall we're gonna have 6 segments. It's gonna be our wrong side of the work, and this side is gonna be our right side of the work. And because of that, just gonna take this end on the other side, this short end, I'm just gonna take it on the other side. Now I'm gonna make my loop a little larger, like that, not too much, but just a little. And I'm gonna take it on the other side. So I'm gonna go in the next stitch that I have here. I'm gonna take my loop. I'm just gonna pull it on the other side, on my right side of the work. And I'm gonna make chain of one and tighten my loops a little. Next row that I'm gonna make, I'm gonna be knitting in my second row around. And I have to knit 12 slip stitches in my second row that I have here. So I'm gonna find my next stitch, gonna be a stitch right here. And I will take my yarn from the other side, like that. And I'm just gonna make a slip stitch here. It's gonna be my right side of the work. Now I'm gonna go to the next hole here that left from my another stitch from my next stitch. I'm gonna take the yarn and I'm just gonna pull it through my other loop. So right now I have 2 stitches, and I'm gonna be knitting my next row in these 2 stitches and going around the same way. It's like our joining stitches. So now I have 11 stitches. I'm gonna find my very first stitch over here, and I'm gonna take yarn on this side. So right now I have 12 stitches around. In my next row I'm gonna crochet 12 single crochet around. So I'll make one single crochet in one stitch that I have around. I'll start with first stitch, and I'm gonna take only half of it, so I'm not gonna be taking it by 2 loops, but I'll take only by half of the loop here. So, and it's half of the loop that is not closest to me. It's gonna be just one single crochet. I'll continue around, taking it by the half of the stitch. So this row is done. Next rounds, I'm gonna continue crocheting in rounds, taking my stitches by only half of the stitch. And in my next round, I have to make a decrease. So I'm gonna be making 2 actually decreases. So one of them gonna be right in the beginning. I'll decrease 2 stitches, 2 half of the stitches. And the other one gonna be in the middle over here. And I have to decrease this one and that one. And I'm gonna start not with the first from the hook, but from the second. Gonna go here first, then I'm gonna come back for the first half of the loop, take yarn, pull it through those 2 half of the stitches, and I'm gonna finish my single crochet. I will continue making single crochet, so I'm gonna make 4 single crochet. And I'm gonna make another decrease. Also taking second half of the loop, half of the stitch first. Going for the first one. So right now I have 2 half of the stitches on my hook. Taking yarn, pulling it through, and finishing my single crochet. And I'm gonna finish this round with 4 single crochet in the next 4 half of the stitches. In the next round, I'm not gonna make any decreases, and I'm gonna crochet 10 single crochet around. So I'm gonna be making 1 single crochet in every stitch. Next round, we're gonna start with decreases. So first decrease, we'll make in the same way as we did before. I'm gonna start with my second half of the stitch from the hook. Then I'm gonna come back for the first one. So second, go into the first one. And taking our yarn, pulling it through both half of the stitches and finishing our single crochet. 3 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, taking it by only the half. Decrease again, and again we're starting with the second half of the stitch, go into the first one, taking yarn, pulling it through and finishing our single crochet, and finishing this row with 3 single crochet in the next 3 half of the stitches. In the next row, I have to crochet 8 single crochet in the next 8 half of the stitches. Next row will continue with decreasing as well. So we'll start with first decrease. Next we'll make 2 single crochet and again decrease. And 2 single crochet. Six single crochet around. And again decrease. 1 single crochet and another decrease. And 1 single crochet. And we're finishing now. We're gonna leave some end of the yarn and cut the yarn. And I'm just gonna hide this part of the yarn inside. And our stem for the pumpkin is done. Now I'm gonna be tying this part. So I'm gonna be looking for the first stitch. It's gonna be this stitch. And finding another one. And in every rib I'm gonna find first stitch or first loop. And now we're just gonna tie it like that. But before tying it completely, I want to show you one way how to decorate our pumpkin. It's gonna be with our cinnamon stick. So I'm just gonna put it inside and I'm gonna tie it nicely just around our cinnamon stick. And I'm gonna go again with my yarn around. And our last touch gonna be making a nice bow with our brown yarn. that's what we have. So it's our one way of decorating pumpkin. Let's take a look at the second way of finishing our pumpkin. So I'm gonna just tie I'm gonna go one more time around and tie it completely. And I'm gonna hide my yarn inside. And now we're gonna attach our stem to this part. And we have end of our yarn here, so that's what we're gonna use to attach our stem to our pumpkin. I'm gonna go inside and right in the middle. I wanna just make it a little crooked like that, and because of that I'm just gonna tie these two ends together and shape my stem the way I want it. Now I don't need this short part and I'm gonna cut it, but I'm gonna use this part to attach my stem to the base of my pumpkin. Now we're just gonna make a few knots. And we're gonna hide it inside. And our pumpkin is done now. So you can see that all the rings are really clearly seen, and we can see all the ribs that are nicely pointed here. So it looks like real pumpkin.